do a full review, so
Yeah,
I
got a
wouldn't
thing
go
at the end
too
so.
far.
No, I won't go too crazy, but
Yeah,
we can save it.
and then we could get
That was something else.
into the Hyperlight Drifter review, or if you're ready to do that now, we can.
Sure, whatever. Let's knock out get out of the way.
All right, let me switch to our gameplay
I
here.
definitely just 100% of this game.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Now, just a disclaimer. This is not our gameplay that we're using. I'm using someone else's gameplay.
Oh, good. I didn't actually stream this game. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Mostly because of time.
I mean, if you're curious who it is, I just want to give him credit. It's someone on YouTube named Pylord72. So if you want to go check out his gameplay, you can. That's what we're going to have in the background behind us. And with that being said, let's hear your review.
It's a game.
All right.
Tell us about it. I don't know anything about
Hyperlight Drifter is a really interesting game. It kind of plays like a JRPG that's like Chrono Trigger in a way that's more like an open world. I don't know exactly like what the name for this type of style would be, because it is just like kind of Chrono Triggery where you can go up and stab the shit out of people and run away on that kind of open top-down plane, you know what I mean? But the combat is really interesting. Your guy just like blips all over the place, like super fucking ninja-like, amazing combat. Everything's very satisfying. Controls are pretty chill. Like you're mostly just like walking around a very surreal world. The graphics are awesome. They're very akin to Celeste, where it's like very pixelated and kind of like glowy pixelated, where like it has amazing effects and whatnot, but it is still very a tried and true pixelated game. As you can see right here, it looks gorgeous.
Do you have the notes up, Josh?
I don't have anything.
The notes actually
we've got some notes up.
Helps walk you through like how to get a good review, basically. Like ask you questions.
I just like saying random shit.
You can. Yeah, I just
it's just a good template. Like,
just thought it might help guide you through the process.
What didn't you like about the game? How's the gameplay? Was it fun?
I'll get into it. Okay, I got you. Okay, so gameplay's very chill, but also fast paced during combat and like puzzly at the same time. It's hard to put my finger on this kind of genre, as it does like look like Celeste, plays like combat wise like very fast Chrono Trigger, where again it's not like a lock on RPG, but you're just like, am I thinking of Chrono Trigger?
No, I don't think so, because Chrono Trigger has like it's a turn-based RPG, but it's real time. So
what game am I thinking of then?
You might be thinking of the Mana series.
Oh, like Illusions of Gaia. Okay, something like that. Okay, does that make more sense?
Sure. Yeah.
No one ever played that. Is that on our list? I hope so.
Oh, I played through Mana, Secret of Mana. Oh, I think Illusion of Gaia is on the list too.
I think I put it on. Okay, so there's a good one. Okay, basically it's like you walk up to enemies and don't engage them in turn-based or anything like that, but it's not like quite Zelda-based either, where it takes time and you have to figure out, I mean, a little bit, but I don't know. I didn't find this game to be like super puzzly or anything. Like it's a mysterious world, but it wasn't like super restrictive gameplay-wise, so I think it's pretty accessible. So that was really nice. Very smooth, chill gameplay again. Music is gorgeous. Let's see, what else? The story is very interesting, as in I didn't really learn anything. So it doesn't have any dialogue that outside of like finding things, and it's not really like dialogue based. It's more like, okay, Hollow Knight is a really good example where you'll find like an item, like, or a piece of a background, or like, something like that, and you'll kind of be like, oh, this must be what happened type thing, but there's never any actual
like
dialogue. Yeah, but even Metroid has like Samus, you get a report from like blah blah, and it's like you see like research logs and stuff like that, and it's less like that and more like I'm gonna literally just visually figure everything out. Like I'm just like looking and I'm like, oh, we're kind of in like a wastelandy type area. This must be like why these bad things happen. Like, but again, I didn't really get a lot of story because I did not dive too deep. But yeah, pretty interesting. This is a cool scene right here. Look at the graphics. Yeah, they really dove into the retro thing on this. I mean, it's really beautiful. I like it, but I'm going to be totally honest. Negative wise, it wasn't groundbreaking for me, I think is what I'm really trying to get at. Like this game kind of just felt like a cool game that was trying to be retro, that didn't break any ground as far as I literally can't even pin my finger on what to call it genre wise. So like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like for me, I'm just like, not overly impressed, but I definitely see the appeal in this game, and it's really amazing. And I really should have beaten it to give this full review. But I mean, it's really fun for sure. I would have preferred something more like Trials of Mana or anything like that, or like any of those types of things, just because they feel, or even like Hollow Knight type games as like a mystery, like what's the word? Dungeon crawler type game where, it just didn't feel like deep enough to me. Maybe I do like need to be guided through story more. I don't know, like maybe something at least to feel like a tangible world. But this
does
world
it kind of like embed the story into like objects?
Exactly.
Kind of like
well, you'll like see the even the architecture will be like a certain way in this region. You'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, and you'll like walk along and you'll like see reasons for it. And you'll maybe see like the destruction along its path and like.
So it's
yeah,
not
totally,
like up front where it like gives you like a narrative for the game.
0.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's like Undertale a little, where in the beginning you see like a scene happen and you see our hero and he's like, or whatever I am. And I don't really know anything. and he's like, cool, enter the dragon, let's go. And then it literally starts you on like an area and you just go. So it's interesting. It's very interesting how it does that.
Yeah.
But again, wasn't overly blown away just because I wanted some new ground here. And like with games like Katana Zero and Celeste and Hollow Knight and Cuphead and these other newer ones, they kind of broke ground for me in certain ways. And this
right. They paid respect to their kind of like retro roots, but they also brought something new to the game that made it interesting and made it like gave it that kind of like next gen like new game feel delivered in that 8-bit 16-bit package.
And while I feel this tries to do that, it is mostly flashy and like it feels like a lot of like pomp and circumstance where it could have been more of a complex game actually. I don't know, it is a beautiful game though, and I'm not trying to knock it really, but like I just like it's kind of like not something
it wasn't as engaging as you anticipated it to be.
Let's see, what would I give it? I would probably give it a 7.5 from my gameplay experience. And that's like, I feel like mostly generous and pretty fair just because maybe that's just my personal opinion, but I'm sure other people had a great experience with it. It looks like a great game to speed run if you like, or to 100% run or anything like that. Like it feels like one of those types of cool games like Dungeon Crawly. But I don't know, whatever you do.
Just to give some like background information. So the synopsis of the game, Hyper Light Drifter is a 2D action role-playing game developed by Heart Machine. The game pays homage to 8-bit and 16-bit games and is considered by its developer Alex Preston as a combination of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Diablo. You wouldn't say it really quite meets
maybe I didn't get deep enough. I mean, I didn't really feel that vibe. It doesn't really feel like a Link to the Past to me. But again, it did feel action RPG was the words I was looking for.
There you go.
But it did feel like that puzzly, mysterious overworld, but like not really the same as like a Zelda
Just
game.
not the depth that you want from a Zelda game.
Maybe not the depth. And again, like I appreciate when I can feel the lore and like maybe all it takes is a few sentences and you're like, this artifact is blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't mind reading things. So like, maybe it did take something away from me because of that. But it's also very Journey-esque, like literally the game Journey-esque, where it's like no words kind of equals a more suspenseful.
It tries to,
and that's the thing. A lot of people, I agree with Colin, kind of where like no words kind of doesn't do it all for me. Like I kind of need more engagement than that.
It's more of like an art piece than a game.
Although this one is more so a game than an art piece, but it is still in that region, I would say.
Gotcha. I think this is available. Game, you played it on PC, right?
I got it for $2 on G2A.
Gotcha. It's on PC, PS4, Switch, Xbox, and iOS. I believe it was.
iOS.
It's $20 or $19.99, and then the complete edition is $29.99, and I'm guessing that comes with some kind of expansion. Let's see. Any other things that we want to say? Would you play a sequel of this game if one existed? Probably not.
I might have to beat the game first. I don't want to shit on it too hard. I would definitely beat this game though. So I think I'll play it all the way through and then decide if I would play a sequel or not. It's a fun concept, but I just like would rather just have like something I'm used to maybe.
Do you think it's worth the original price tag, or would you
price tag I paid? Absolutely.
No.
I don't think this is a $20 game. I think it's a good $10 game. That'd be fair. I wouldn't be mad at anyone who paid $20 for this game. Any more than that is robbery, and less is more fair. So,
wow, right on.
Not $30 game. Fuck yourself. No.
Yeah. What about like just general things like you talked a little bit about the gameplay. What about like art music design, sound
I
design,
touched on
things
him a
like
little
that.
bit, but art is gorgeous. I'm personally very into this style, although it does feel a little forced. I know I'm getting maybe pretentious about this whole like revamp of old game styles, but I think it is like kind of an easy way also to be
A
like,
lot of people are doing it, so
They're
if you're
doing
gonna
it,
do
yeah.
it, do it right, you
I
know,
think so.
because
And I'm not saying the
it's
game
getting
isn't gorgeous.
saturated. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying the game isn't gorgeous, but it feels like it could have looked like many different things to
Mhm.
where I get again want like I think I kind of touched on this before where like if something's in the world and I'm in the world, like I want it all to feel completely right. It doesn't matter what it looks like whether it looks like cell shaded Zelda or if it looks like Paper Mario World. If it feels like a real world and like a world that my character can be in, then I want like and it's cohesive, then that's what I want. I don't care what it looks like as long as it feels real in the game.
That's how VR is too. You know that if it's cohesive,
Oh.
you'll buy it basically.
You'll just
Yeah.
buy it. Yeah. That's godly.
You'll
Yeah.
like be put into
like
that
even
world.
if it's like a cartoony world.
Even-
I'm sure
yeah.
that's
Right.
true, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
So
but where
cool.
realism kind of just is not
Yeah.
good because it's not cohesive and it kind of fails in certain areas and your brain's trying to say this is real but it's not. Or if it's just cartoony but
Yeah.
cohesive and consistent,
Yep.
your brain instantly is like, yep, this is
This
real.
is the issue with CGI actually in movies. Like there was a week
Uncanny
like 10-year
Valley is what
period.
they call it.
Yeah.
There was a week like 10-year period of CGI in movies where you'd see like the big monster come out and you're like, oh, looks like really bad and pulls me out of the movie because he looks like terrible
Yeah,
graphics.
looks like
And
Gumby.
and there's just like one thing that looks like that, and you're like,
Yeah.
why did they even bother? Like,
Yeah.
but it's totally like
Scorpion
that, so.
King, The Rock.
Yeah. So I'm not saying this game isn't.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh yeah, that's really
That's
bad.
such a funny one. I'm not saying it doesn't look good and isn't a beautiful game. But I do think that it could have been any art style, and that this art style maybe should be reserved for games that truly fit in the vein 100%. But again, it's not the game's fault. I need to play it all the way through also.
Gotcha.
Music is gorgeous. It definitely fits with what they're looking for. So I do think it's just like very chill and dramatic at times. So it fits it's very Celeste. I would give that too, where it's kind of like just like you could listen to that song for the whole level and it like feels like it goes along with it, which is I think very good. So I think the music maybe the strongest aspect. What was the other thing? Music, graphics. What else?
I think that's mostly it. What's your overall rating impression, just to wrap it up?
So I would give it a 7.5, and I would say it is a good game. If you can get a deal on it, G2A, I would definitely recommend playing it for the price I paid. I would definitely wait till it goes on sale on Steam if you don't like to do it the other way. But good game, worth a play. I still will and want to beat it all the way through to get a full opinion. I might bump up a few points. You never know. Maybe I'm still on the slow parts.
Yeah.
Like in some games take a lot of time. You never know.
Yeah.
But I would overall suggest it, warranting that, this isn't a groundbreaking game. That's my biggest note, is that like you're not playing a brand new game here. You're playing a game with some cool new things that are really awesome and visually new in some ways that you definitely like feel like you've played this game kind of before, and not in a respect shout out way to those games, more like nothing new here game kind of way. Yeah. So that's my overall opinion. Worth a play mostly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.